I showed up to a dispensary, full suit, and you know, the owner came up and said, "It's great that you're here, but what's up?" I said, "I'm just here to say hi, welcome you to the association."
Saw you in that
and they're
suit.
like, "I got all my employees ready to bolt out the back. What's going on?"
Saw you in that suit.
That's the last day that I ever wear a suit.
They thought they were in trouble.
That's right.
Y'all go flush everything. Like, go check the books real quick. I've always been in cannabis, but not the cannabis industry, but very in depth with cannabis since an early age. It's crazy. Like, that's a story for another time, how I got introduced to cannabis. But really, dude, so I'm an alcoholic and a cocaine addict that's in recovery right now. I'm over 2 years sober, which is about the same age of my podcast. And the reason it started was I needed something to do because I felt myself slipping again, you know, like with boredom comes stupid shit. So I was like, I gotta eliminate this before it gets out of hand because I'd already relapsed a couple times. So I was like, I'm not trying to go down that road. Family was on the line. I had to get serious. So I really honed into like meditation, smoking, and then meditating. And then I
use an app, or you like?
I use that app because we would do it every day in rehab. So I tried to transition out of rehab to that, but it was still led in rehab, so I still needed that leadership. So I had the app for a while, the mindfulness.
Mindful, okay.
And then after like a month, I got rid of it and started doing it on my own with the blunt in my hand, and I was like, why haven't I been doing this my whole life, dude?
Yeah.
Like, it was always therapeutical to sit here and break down weed and roll it up.
Right.
But now when you add meditation into that, it's like the whole mind clears because you're getting rid of all that negative energy from your body and just resetting your brain. So when I would do that in the morning mixed with some weed, I would just have these crazy ass ideas.
Yeah.
And before I got sober, one idea I had was I want to have a podcast, but it was going to be around like talking shit and getting drunk.
Yeah.
Right? So this time I was like, let's just focus on like Arizona, like Arizona art, Arizona whatever. And cannabis, the way cannabis was involved in the podcast was I was just going to have that podcast where people were just getting high as fuck. So from the gate, I was smoking a half ounce every show.
Oh, nice.
Every show, I'm getting lit. You know what I'm saying? And then we started interviewing people from the cannabis community. I seen how kind of damaged the industry was, how people were doing their reviews biased. And I was like, dude, like nothing's gonna get fixed. Like I love this plant. I love smoking good weed. I'll go drop $50 to $60 a Nathan, not care if it's worth it. But when I'm doing that consistently and the weed's not worth it, something's wrong. Yeah. So I needed to voice that, and I went to culinary school, so I felt like I knew how to give criticism and I knew how to take it. Yeah. So like I didn't want to be that guy who's dragging people. So I'm gonna let you know in a kind way what you can work on, right? Yeah. Which is why I think my reviews do so well, is because I take that approach, and I'm not here to do it to embarrass anybody, like, or get attention. If you read my review, fine. If you don't, you don't. Right. I don't write them to gain people's attention or to get people to stop buying from a brand. Like, it is what it is.
When did you start thinking of cannabis in that critical way, right? Like when did it go from like...
Just about a year ago, man. I've been doing the gas passes for like a year now, which are our versions of the Cannabis Reviews, you know? And they've taken off. I have people hitting my inbox up on a daily basis, like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Should I get this? Should I get that? And I hate to be the guy to like influence anybody's shopping habits, you know, because at the end of the day, it's your money and you should spend it how you want. But at the end of the day, I know what I like, and according to the community, I'm not wrong with my reviews. Yeah. I'm not saying, you know,
like Bon Jovi, 100 million fans can't be wrong.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're the ones who tell me, like, bro, your reviews are spot on, great review. So that's leveled into taking pictures, and like now I grow weed at the house. Now the 207's passed, so like that care for just smoking weed has now evolved into growing the weed so I can understand it better, why it does this for the body, how it grows, like just really...
Have you had your first harvest yet?
I will so my 60th day is Thursday. Okay. So if I'm not ready by then I definitely know I have a few more days after that, but I did that to show people that it's easy to grow quality cannabis at home. This is my first time growing weed ever, and apparently, according to everybody, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't look fire, but I don't know, right?
Yeah.
From Grow Sciences to Qualifier to Tru Med, they've all said how great my product
That's awesome.
is, right? And
That's
this
great.
is my first run ever. So the next run, I'm focusing on building the yields, getting more out of it, because I got the quality down, and that's what I did in culinary school. We learned how to bake a cake the right way before we started baking them on a large scale. Mm-hmm. So each table bakes one cake. Once we get that down, now the whole class, each table's baking 5 cakes at a time.
Right.
And the whole class has made 45 cakes that we could sell, right? Same approach I take with that. So, cannabis, dude, I'm not trying to be one of those people, but it's really saved my life. You know, it's not. There's other things I do with cannabis with coping mechanisms I use. Cannabis is a tool in my toolbox. I don't think anybody should rely on it, right. Although it does have its benefits. Like, it's not always going to be accessible, right? Unless you're growing your own and right. I got this.
Right.
But even in between harvests, if you don't have anything and you don't want to go to the dispensary because the price gouges or whatever, you got to learn how to cope with other things, whether it's music, going on a walk, cooking, or shit, act like you're rolling up a blunt and, like, get rid of it. But just the motions, I find, help me out. So.
I think that's really cool and important because, it isn't like a silver bullet, right? But it's been something that's been with us forever. I was just reading something recently that some archaeologists or whatnot found fabric that was 30,000 years old that was made from hemp.
That's tight.
Right? And then you also, if you put, like, a map of where all of the ancient hemp seeds and things like that were found, and an overlay of human civilization, it like matches perfectly.
That's
right. So this plant has been a part of our development, for eons.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is meant to be that silver bullet or that one answer, but it's part of that.
It's a part of life for sure. Yeah. Like you said, a lot of foundations, a lot of civilizations were built off that. It was probably part of a really big trade, and I'm not talking an illegal trade, but a form of currency to help put food on people's tables or even get that food or put a roof over their heads. So for me, when you look at it as with this Prop 207 passing, right, and all these corporations really taking over the market, it's sad to me, right? That's kind of, I understand it from a business aspect, but as a human being, it's sad because also as a business, as a small business startup, like, imagine all these small mom and pop shops that busted their ass for the last X amount of years,
right.
For now 207 to pass and them get bought out by a corporation that doesn't need it. They have like 5 or 6 other dispensaries. Why do you need this one more that worked so hard to do what they do for the community, to do what they do? And I don't mean just marijuana community. I mean the community around them. Because I've been to some dope dispensaries that do a lot for the community, where it's trash pickups, donate to the highways, that kind of stuff. And then you got these corporations that just come in and wipe that out, and they don't do anything like that, And it's like, well, if you're going to come do that shit and replace them, then at least try to follow suit, right? Like, do something for us, Don't just take our money and say thank you when we show up. Like, say thank you when we're not there type stuff. So it's a very tight line. Like, I'm not that guy who's going to sit there and complain about shit all day, every day. Like, it's hard to not comment on the internet because that's all you see is people. Like, we turned into these elitists because we have medical cards. Like, what the hell? Nah, man. Right. We just were either able to afford it, or maybe somebody hooked us up for Christmas with some extra cash. Whatever the case may be, we found the opportunity that other people can't find because whatever their situation is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now that's kind of been eliminated, now people are complaining because meds are gone. Like, dude, either put your order in online or get your ass there early, or grow your own weed. You have those 3 options.
Right.
But for us to be like, well, these people shouldn't have access to our meds, like, how do you know they don't need the meds as bad as you do? Mm-hmm. How do you know that they don't have the same chronic illness that you have, but access the shit that the access, or if they can even get access or any kind of insurance, isn't playing their part, so they can't get the proper medication? Because I'm on mental health medication, and trying to get that shit refilled is almost impossible.
Yeah.
So imagine somebody trying to get their pain medication or their mental medication or whatever the case may be refilled or adjusted, and they can't because whoever's in charge of that card is just on their time. You know what I'm saying? It's where they have the dispensary, they can go in whenever, and the worst you got to do is wait for a line and pay 20-something% on taxes, but it's there.
Right.
So my message to people like in that field is just like, before it got wrecked and legal, everybody was like, this plant's for everyone, right?
Right.
We shouldn't be, nobody should be thrown away for this plant. Nobody should not be able to smoke this plant. And now that people have this opportunity, it's like, oh shit, take that away from them. Like, what side of the fence are we on?
Yeah, and that's the push and the pull, absolutely. And I think one thing that's really, from the seat that I get to sit in, is really kind of fun to know. So Prop 207 passed the same day that Question 2 passed in New Jersey.
Okay.
Right? And New Jersey just passed their legislation that will create the framework for rec in Jersey, right? So they're probably middle of 2022, if not 2023, until the first rec purchase happens in New Jersey, right?
I'm going to the East Coast.
Right. But I think what I'm saying there, right, is they voted on their proposition the same day that we did.
Okay.
Our market's already here.
Yeah.
Right? So we still have some learning to do to kind of figure out that commerce and figure out the supply chain, because we just went from 300,000 qualified patients to 5.5 million people in Arizona that are 21 and over, right?
So, and I'm happy for all of them, right?
Right?
Like, I'm happy for them. And I'm not mad at the dispensaries whatsoever. I know they all got a job to do. Everybody's got a family to feed or bills to pay. I totally get that. So when I'm sitting here telling you this, like, I'm not putting blame on anybody. You know, I just feel like people got to see the brighter side of things, that this is the first step to like that happening. What you just like, look at New York, for example. New York just set the bar with their legalization, right?
3 ounces,
dude. And the fact that everyone's getting released from prison and all their stuff is being wiped away, like, that's amazing. Like, everybody else needs to follow. Arizona said that's what was going to happen, and I haven't really seen that. I've seen all the dispensaries.
So that's a great question. So expungement, those things are definitely a part of the initiative, and they are going to be implemented. Just legislatively, in the way that our system works, we needed to give the courts some time to figure out their paperwork and whatnot. So that process is July 12th.
Okay.
But we estimate, with the help of our friends at ACLU, estimate about 200,000 to 225,000 folks that are going to be a part of that program, or at least eligible for expungement.
That's the day I can't wait for. But another thing New York did is there's no eligibility. You don't have to apply. You don't have to. Like, if you have a record for
automatic.
You're out. It's expunged.
Oh, absolutely. That's
and I can't wait until everybody else follows that. You know, and then it's like, because that's what really needs to happen. Make way for the real criminals, man. Like, people out here serving these hard-ass drugs that are tearing down families, man. Like, I've been on that other side, so I'm speaking from experience. Like, they'll serve you that 20 bag all day, right? And whatever, that should be looked over sometimes. But when you're smoking a blunt or a joint in public because you bust your ass at work and you got back pain, you're getting looked at side-eyed. Like, leave me alone, dude. You know what I'm saying? So I want to ask you the same question, man. How did you get into cannabis, and what are you actually doing in cannabis? This is my first time meeting you.
Yeah, and it is. It's great to meet you. So, my role, I'm the executive director of the Arizona Dispensaries Association. So we are the membership trade association for all of the licensed owners in the space, but also the affiliate brands that everyone knows and loves, like Grow Sciences and Copia and Sublime and groups like that. So. And really, a lot of our work is not out in the public. We do a lot of regulatory compliance work. We do a lot of like legislative lobbying, that kind of work, to make sure that the ecosystem is alive and well. And obviously, kind of where we're at and what we're focused on. My members are the license owners, the retail operations, the cultivations, the processors. But I think that everyone in the industry, the 20 to 25,000 employees, understand and know that we aren't here without our patients, and we aren't here without the consumers that walk through those stores. So there is that symbiotic relationship for sure, right? And, it isn't that we run the market or we own the market or anything like that. Really, the posture is like, this is the ecosystem, right? Like that's important. We don't represent the industry. We're here for what's good for Arizona's regulated cannabis ecosystem.
I like that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you're like the voice for...
Yes, sir.
For the, we'll say for the market.
Yeah,
okay.
right. And so before that was the other part of your question. Before that, I did this kind of work, but for a large number of folks. So in contract lobbying,
okay,
and that type of association management. So kind of took a personal passion for cannabis, and brought it together with a professional passion of lobbying and regulatory compliance.
Lobby rituals.
That's right. That's right.
Be in the house.
And just kind of a fun little anecdote about how those worlds mesh. There was a time in my life where I owned more suits than T-shirts because
I'm trying to get there though.
Right?
You see me? I'm trying to get there. I was looking in my closet today. I'm like, it's Easter.
I know.
Usually, I'm in a hoodie. I'm in some cutoff pants and some slippers, and I was like, you know what? It's Easter. I'm gonna be on the homie show. Let me go out here. I got my hair cut for you, man.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a nice trip.
Yeah. No, this is awesome.
Yeah. So, but I showed up to a dispensary, full suit, and the owner came up and said, "It's great that you're here, but what's up?" I said, I'm just here to say hi, welcome you to the association.
Saw you in that
and they're like, I got all my employees ready to bolt out the back. What's going on?
Saw you in that suit.
That's the last day that I ever wear a suit.
They thought they were in trouble. That's right. Y'all go flush everything.
That's right.
Go check the books real quick. I'm stalling. I hope that the dispensaries. And honestly, I'm not that guy who thinks every dispensary is doing something shady, right? Again, at the end of the day, since I've started a business, I'm starting to understand business. And that's sadly what cannabis is turning into is business. But I just feel like the business can go a different way, right? And I'm glad that you explained to me what you do because now if I'm feeling a certain way, I know where to go.
Yeah.
And honestly, dude, I hardly feel any kind of way. 207 came, I was pissed. And I took a minute to just chop it up with my inner circle. And look at the big picture, right? There's a big picture with this prop, and I'm just walking and living proof. I'm growing, I'm giving stuff. I'm not selling any. I'm giving away clones, seeds, knowledge because I got grow sciences teaching me how to grow. I got other caregivers in my pocket teaching me how to grow. Yeah. Well, not my pocket, my corner. That sounds so dark. I don't have anyone in my pocket. I'm trying to get in a pocket.
Hey.
No, I'm just kidding. That sounds so shady too. Look, I'm not shady like that. Look, man, I'm just trying to get me up. Got to pay my bills and shit. But it's just so dope how what's the word I'm looking for? Supportive, right?
Yeah.
This community has been because I've been so open with my grow, with my mess ups to my accomplishments, and people are just so fascinated and amazed and now they're inspired to grow cannabis at their house, and that's all it takes is a little inspiration.
And I think what you said though is kind of fun and maybe goes back to what we were talking about a little earlier. This plant, I mean, she's resilient, right? I mean, she's been with us, right? Yeah. So, and I think if any business is going to build up around that plant, that has to be resilient, and that has to be really truly rooted in the place that it's grounded. And I think that one of the things that we saw when the earlier big Canadian operators and some of the big names in cannabis started out, it was really that kind of grasping at straws. But I think now that the market has matured and regulated itself a little bit, I think we're seeing that what the future can look like and could look like. And I think maybe just in this moment, let me stretch and say I think that's the same thing as pheno hunting.
Man.
Right?
That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, the industry's finding itself and finding its own way.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at here. And it's not dissimilar to your situation.
It's real dope you said that. It's balancing out because when it first started, it was chaotic, right? It was lines around the building. Right. And you will see that sometimes, depending on the time of day you go. And then at the end of the day, it also depends on what dispensary you go to because not every dispensary in the state is recreational yet. It's on its way. But they're trying to get that product up so they can serve that market. if I'm not mistaken, rec wasn't supposed to happen until like right now, like this month.
Those were some of the earlier projections.
You know, it's like they were like, nah, we got it passed, let's do it. You know, so I want to say, like, personally, because I haven't said this on my show, which I feel bad for, but like, I'm real proud of the dispensaries that did start early, and figured it out, you know, and took the heat, you know, and ran with it and didn't attack the customers online, because you see people. I've seen it where companies, and they're companies I respect, you know, I shop at, and I'm now second guessing going and giving them my money, because again, at the end of the day, like, I'm about the community, whether the community's right or wrong. Yeah. I hate to say you're here to serve us, but like, you're here to make us happy, right? In order for us to go and spend our money at your place, you have to make us happy with the products you put out. And if we're not happy, whether it's because the product's not meeting the prices standards, or it's no testing, whatever the case may be, because people will find the slightest thing, and that's starting to get on my nerves, like how nitpicky the community is. It's just like, dude, just take it, right? Just take it for now, right?
But we're getting there, right? Exactly. That's the pheno hunting, right? Each little victory, each little challenge makes that next grow, that next harvest all the better. And I think that's really where we're at as a community here.
I think by summertime, like, it'll be even much better, but by, like, let's say February of 2022, like, we'll be in such a smooth little world. New grows will be coming online, new dispensaries. Like, I think it'll be a good time for the Arizona market. And then when that legislation opens back up, you know, that's the time for people to voice their concerns and really go make that change that they want so desperately. Because what I notice is there's a lot of people that just talk, right? You can say how upset you are all day. Were you voting? Did you vote when it was time to go voice your opinion and speak on these matters? Did you do so? Or did you just sit behind your keyboard and wolf up Facebook? There's a big difference. Because your opinion, your voice, whatever that case may be, is not about to get heard on 100%. Facebook, except from the other bitter people that are doing the same thing with you, right?
I like that.
So you go in and you gotta. This community has to do better at walking the walk instead of talking the talk, and I mean every aspect, from
every piece of it.
The dispensaries, the growers, to the consumer. Like, we can do better. You know, and we are doing better, but at the end of the day, it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart going on these cannabis community pages on Facebook and reading some of the stuff I see. It's just like, what the heck? What? But then all the other stuff is pretty cool and informational, and people coming out their shell about their grow, and that's really what's the cool part, you know? And here's what happened in all reality, because I had a little taste of going out. I used to be a product procuring manager for no-go butter. So I was running around dispensing. And what happened was everybody, that 207 hit, so everyone had to get rid of their stuff real quick, right? So dispensaries bought it up because they had to keep the shelves stocked, and that's that wave we saw, was them clearing out the shelves to make room for the new stuff coming, which I'm excited for. I've got to see some of it, and you know, if you follow some of these grows online, like, they hear us loud and clear. You know, it's not like they're ignoring us and stuff, like, they hear it. So I'm really excited and can't wait to see the improvement of quality in everything, like from edibles to rosin to flower. Like, I'm a flower head, so that's what I'm more excited for. But I've seen the rosin quality going up, and that's only because the flower quality is going up. That's where it starts. So
you have to have that good root product. So I was thinking of those products and whatnot. I'm interested. So what product categories are you, like, excited to see mature? And B, because this might be a different answer. What products do you want to see? Right. So A, what do you think is coming up? Is it Bev? Is it more topicals? You know, what don't we have that we will have, and then also what do you want to see? Like, you think, like, this is like whatever 2021. Think 3021. Right. What are we seeing?
Okay, so Really, I mean, I'm just going to be extremely biased with my answer because I love weed, right? Like, I love it. So, just with that, I'm hoping, and I've seen, like, I've got to see some of the grows personally behind the scenes on what they're working on. And it's like Arizona's mind is going to be blown when some of these strains drop, and that's what I'm most excited to see. And then your answer to the second question, rosin, dude. Like, I've just got, I've been dabbling in rosin off and on, but somebody just showed me the trick on how to get it right every time. And once I learned,
start?
No, I know the cold start.
Okay.
But this one is like, you heat it up, then you let it wait like a minute and 5 seconds. That's the absolute perfect time, right? You let it cool for that time, and right at 1 minute and 5 seconds, you drop that shit in there. Perfect dab, dude. Like, perfect dab. So once I've done that, once I've discovered that, I've been just getting into rosin and stuff. So I'm excited to see that. I want to see hash come back, dude. Either bubble hash or hashish.
Right.
Like, that'd be fire to see on the market. But I know, dude, I think with the way the laws are set up, that would probably only be available to medical, if I'm not mistaken, because it's such a high potency.
Depending on how it would be, cultivated, or not cultivated, but processed.
Okay.
It might be up to 5 grams, right? Because possession is 1 ounce, of which no more than can be 5 grams.
Okay.
So in a transaction, if you could have 5 grams of hashish, then
sign me up. And that's what I'm excited too about growing your own, is because now I can. Dude, it was so crazy. I'm watching those old Drugs Inc. on National Geographic, and one that happened to come on was the hashish episode, right? And they're making it, and I'm like, that's all you got to do. Like, I can't wait for it. Like, thank you, National Geographic. You just help a brother out. I'm about to make some hash on this this harvest, and then I got.
But so here's the real question, right? If this is your grow and you have your 6 plants, 12 if you have another adult living in your home with you, right? Which buds are you going to use for hash? Right? I think that some of those hash farms, they're using the colas. They're using the best ones to make that hash because they know the more trichomes can get through the screen, get pressed the best.
We'll see.
But if it's your own grow, aren't you smoking it?
No, for sure. So I already have that planned out in my head. What I did is there's some strains that I grew multiples of.
Okay.
Right? So what I have in flower right now, there's 3 cuts of Obama runs.
Okay.
And I know for a fact I'm going to take one whole plant and I'm going to make whatever out of it. Right. I have some blood orange tangy times Obama runs that I know for sure I'm going to wash some of it.
Okay.
But I also want to smoke it because it doesn't have any tangy features right now. As it's growing, it's straight tang.
Okay.
So I'm like, I can't wait to try that. And then I have these Showgirls, which is a Sunday Driver cross with, I think it's a cherry, something cherry. And I can't wait, dude. In veg right now, I have 3 different cuts of ice milk that I plan on at least. Well, I got those out of bags from Reef.
Okay.
And they're from Yates. So if those are winners, they're winners.
Yeah.
And then I got same thing with. Actually, my whole veg tent, except for two of the plants in there, are all bag seeds.
Okay.
Because I was like, dude, this is my first time. I got some real good seeds, like some real genetics, but I was not gonna pop those on my first run and jack them up. So these bag seeds are looking real promising in veg.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta wait till flower to see the real action, but in veg they're looking phenomenal, dude.
That's amazing.
So I got 3 ice milks. I got a KK. I got a apple fritter. I got 2 candy pies, and then I got a Gushers. And the Gushers, I know for sure I'm just gonna wash because I've smoked so much of it, and it's a heavy hitter, dude. Like in the flower form. So, and I'm pretty sure that's with the CBG. I think Gushers is real high in CBG. Okay. So I'm like, I wonder what that would taste like in a concentrated form.
Really
The flower's out of this world, but
right.
and that's the joys of growing your own, right? You could you can buy strains that dispensaries would or grows would never grow because grows are focused on yields right now. You know, and when they're pheno hunting, they want that one that's going to not only produce high-end yields, but it's going to be that winner.
Right.
When you're growing at home, you don't have to care about yields. Like, who cares if you don't get a pound per plant?
Right.
You got 5 more behind it. Get your pound that way. And if you're smart, you got 6 in veg ready to be flipped.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you cycle correctly, you will never run out of weed.
Yeah. I love that. Right? Isn't that the end goal of everything?
That's the end goal. And then I'm already figuring out how to clone. So I've cloned genetics that I've already feel like I might just keep mothers of and then, bam, keep cutting them.
So I think a lot of folks, right, and something that we fought for to be included in 207 is home grow, right? But I think a lot of people are following you and your journey on that.
Yeah.
In addition to just like trial by error, because some of this just has to be experiential, right? Like, where are some of those resources? Who are you talking to that, like, someone who isn't hippie? You know, right? I mean, like, hey, it's young hippie. Of course, you know, Matt's going to call you back, right?
No,
like,
sure.
if you're just like someone out
I
there.
got this, so it's called Cocoa for Cannabis.
Okay.
Because I grow in cocoa. So this is it's a website that has literally any and everything you need to know about growing in cocoa, from cloning to plant training to pH, ppm, runoff, EC, everything.
That's cool.
Humidity, you name it. And that's what I've taken that. I've taken for my environment. I've taken everything that they do at Grow Sciences because Matt gave me the blueprint of how they grow weed at Grow Sciences. So I take their same environmental setting and I implement that in my home grow. The feedings that I do, I run Floraflex Nutrients, which I won off a raffle, and they've been promising. So I'm going to keep running that, right? And they have a recommended feeding chart on their packaging that I follow. And then I've just implemented this local, it's called Tico. You probably know them. They're the little micronutrients in the liquid form. And those are phenomenal. Like, phenomenal. I'm not getting paid to say this. Those, if you are somebody who's going all organic, right, these are it. Because you see these living cultures forming in your reservoir, right? And when I say that, it sounds extremely disgusting, right? But there's these things that look like little worms in my reservoir, but they're extremely healthy. Like, they're supposed to be there because when they go into your plants, they promote root and like stem growth. And it's like, the way it was explained to me is like an athlete when they're injured or they're fatigued and they need that second go. So they mix this concoction of vitamins and whatever, and then they shoot it up in them on the sideline so they can just go, right? That's the same thing we're giving the plant. And it's all natural. It's all organic and healthy living organisms that you like to the microscopic level that you want in whatever you're growing in. And since I've used that stuff, my plants have done nothing but just shoot. Like, I'm like, fuck, I need a bigger tent. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. And the fan leaves are just, they're vibrant. They're bigger than my hand. Right. And I'm having to trim them like every 3 days. Before that, I was good with like every 5 to 7. I was cool with that because I didn't want to shock the plant. Yeah. But with what I'm doing now and giving these plants now, every 3 days is fine because they bounce back like no other. Yeah. And I just went to OKC, and I thought I set everything up for the missus to be able to. She was, but the last day of the res ran out. And so overnight, my plants get watered 4 times a day on an automatic feeding system. And on the last night, they didn't get the 4 times. They only got 1. And you could see it. They drooped. So I went on Instagram and I said, this is what happens when you don't water your plants, right? So then I made a res, watered them back up. And 2 hours later, I was like, this is what happens after you water them. And the plants looked like nothing ever happened to them. And that's what you were talking about, the resilience. That's right. Like, my plants, they're in a tent in the garage. You can only imagine. I have an AC unit hooked up to it. But you can only imagine, sometimes it gets chaotic in there, right? And I find myself in the garage, camped out there. But you couldn't tell. They're just phenomenal. And I can't wait to harvest because I have this thing called the Hippy Science program.
Okay.
Where I'm basically, it's science. I'm learning how to grow weed and sharing everything I learn with everybody. I'm not selling it. I'm just sharing it on YouTube for now, and then I'm going to put it on my website, and it's going to be how I grow weed. Yeah. And it's from all these great, phenomenal growers that don't have the time to answer everybody, but will get right back to me, and bam, here's the recipe. Because that's what they wanted. That's what
I'm
they
interested
wanted.
in some of the non-recipe pieces, or like the non-organic things. Like, do you read them poetry or sing? Like, what do you do with your ladies that isn't just, nutrients and water and light?
I definitely play, I play music. I play a lot of Wiz Khalifa for them because I love Wiz, so I'm like, you guys gotta love
honestly,
Wiz.
Wiz probably loves them.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I play some good music. I let my kids go in there and talk to them. Like, kids are so fascinated with plants. You know what I'm saying? And people can feel however they want about this, but like, the more you hide this stuff especially from children, the more they're going to go searching for what it is, right? And then they're going to be curious, and curiosity is going to kill that cat, right? I was a kid. We were all kids once. My parents told me, don't do this. I did it, right?
Sometimes quicker.
Because they wouldn't tell me why not to do it. They just said, don't do this. Right. And I said, well, if I don't know why not to do it, let me find out. Yeah. So my kids, they know I'm growing medicine in the garage, so I don't have to go to the store anymore. They're like, hell yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And that transitioned into now my son growing sunflowers outside. Yeah. Why not? Instead of buying a dog that's messy as hell, you now have a plant that you have to tend to.
That's right.
Or it's going to die, like your dog.
Absolutely.
And he's in love with that, right? Dude, yeah.
Because it's not taboo, right? We've only been making it taboo since 1937 or, however long, whichever date you want to plant in the ground.
How do you defeat the stigma if you keep creating the stigma?
Yeah.
If this is medicine, why is it not viewed as such, right? If I can grow a herb in the backyard to provide for my family, whether it's for cooking or for, aloe for your burn or whatever, cannabis is no different, right? Because before you flip it to flower, it's basically in a non-psychoactive state. Yeah. So if I take, which I've done already, and given him to some, shout out to 42710 Goddess, she's amazing. I've taken all my clippings from veg and given them to her, and she made salsa, she made smoothies.
That's cool.
And she gave them to us, and I gave them to my kids. Like, nobody knows that when you eat raw cannabis plant, it's good for fiber. Mm-hmm. It's good for your immune system. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell you that. They tell you, like, you're going to get high off your ass and be no good, which is also a lie. We've done the research. Nothing happens to your memory from smoking pot. We've already looked into, that was one of our first things we talked about when we started doing educational segments on the Hippy Chronicles. We looked into, when your teachers would tell you smoke pot, you're going to get dumb. That is that's a lie. You don't get dumb. Like, you don't. And I can say, like, I've gotten hella, like, I've learned more shit in this past 2 years since I've started smoking crazy amounts of weed than I probably would have when I was doing cocaine and alcohol. So there's a vision for you. But yeah, man, I think that is important, like, just showing your kids, whether it's from cannabis or anything like that, hard work and like taking care of something and reaping from your rewards, right? Like, because that is a reward. Absolutely. If you grow out a flower and now you can cut it down and give it to your mom, or you grow some watermelon, which we've done successfully in the backyard. And you can chop it up and go eat it, like I went to culinary school, so if I can go in the backyard and grow something and take it right into the kitchen and do something with the kids, that makes them feel cool. Right. And now my son's into YouTube, so he wants a YouTube channel. Let's get it going, and that's from him.
You got everything in the kitchen already, right?
And he sees me doing YouTube videos, and he wants all this free stuff, so I'm like, son, you see how I do YouTube videos? I was like, if you did that, all these people you're watching they'll come watch you, and then you'll get the free stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's how
Right.
that's how it works. And he's like, let's do it. And I'm like, all right. So I got like 4 videos on my phone that I have to edit for him and stuff. But like, that's it right there. That's my kind of like, other than cannabis, like my drive to do this, because it ain't money. I'll tell you guys right now, I'm like blessed beyond words to just have Grow Sciences sponsor us, and they just pay for our recording. I'm not getting money to pay my bills from this podcast or these cannabis reviews, but I know in like 3 to 4 months that's all going to change, because now I have a product that I can offer not just to the businesses but to the community.
Right.
And for the community, it's going to be absolutely free.
Right.
And beneficial, and the market's going to see that, and they're going to be like, that makes sense, sign me up, because you already do it on Leafly and Weed Maps.
Right. I love that. So tell me what's next. Just because I think we're wrapping up. And speaking of wrapping up, you gotta wrap that.
Yeah. Hey, whether the show is going or not, I will smoke it.
But just what's next? What's next for the podcast? What's 2021 look like? Because obviously, you spending a ton of time in the tents.
Yeah.
Right. You spent a ton of time on a couple of side projects.
Yeah.
So what's up next for the main hustle?
So the main hustle, man, really is just getting our website, and I could say it's almost a month out, dude, to where everything you guys ask us on Instagram, that you see on Instagram, that continuously gets shadow banned, or when I do a review, you want to know where you can get it, because I do reviews from weed in not just Arizona. Like, I'm fortunate to travel around and try these different brands, and people want to know where to get it, because I'm not tagging dispensaries in my shit. I know what that does for them, you know? But if someone asks, I will gladly tell them. I'm not withholding any information. But imagine being able to find all that in one spot. That's what I'm working on.
Okay. Awesome.
And then we got the Las Vegas Cannabis Awards Part 2. So last year we brought home a trophy for Best Cannabis Podcast. Awesome. And the nominations just opened back up for this year. And I'm hoping to just bring that back home, you know. Whether I do or don't, like, I want to go to the event, but this community, like last year we broke a record with votes, so I don't see us at least not being in attendance, but I don't have any doubt that this community will get us there, you know. So really, like, our year looks like taking care of the community, because for the past 2 years they've really helped us get to where we are now, and that's even to the point to where, like, sometimes I'll get lucky enough to get free weed, you know, and do a review on it, or, you know, Cannabis Cactus has reached out and has offered to buy my reviews off me to put in the magazine, which is a blessing, you know, like, you don't need that,
right? But
they do that, and to me, that just, I want to be able to do that for others, you know, and give back to this community that's been good to me. You know, some people have been some assholes, but it's love, you know, it's all love. I have no hard feelings against anybody. I want to see everyone just be happy and successful. Yeah. So that's my mission, man, just to keep doing so and be a better man as I keep going, you know. Like, I'm not perfect, but if I don't learn something every day, or, you know, at least my new goal is do something for my girlfriend, future wife. I'm going to go there because I'm putting that into the air. I got to put it out there because
it's real.
It's really me.
It's
like,
real now.
I have a whole bunch of reasons behind it, and I'm ready. I want to get over it. You know, I want to get over those reasons. I guess you could call them fears, just from growing up and seeing shit, how that worked. I don't want that same thing, but I'm trying to live this life where, like, I'm telling people you got to believe in shit, so I have to, right? Like, how could people believe what I'm saying if I'm not at least trying to do what I'm saying? I'm telling other people to do. That'd be ridiculous. I'd be a hypocrite, you know. So that's what I want to do. I want to focus this year on being a better person, being a better team, and making the community better in every way, shape, or form. Just doing my part.